as we go to the Stanley Fencing and Gates hotline to say hello to Austin Price of Volquest.com, covering Tennessee football and UT football recruiting. Austin, thank you for the time as always. Another commitment for Tennessee. This one I think had been anticipated, but still a big deal to get four-star wide receiver Travis Smith. Tell us about him if you can and what it means for Tennessee to add him to the 25 class.
Before we get going, I want to say a big welcome back to Swain, and then also add that I talked to the people at Barrett Sports Media Group, and they told me that the one show that Swain and I did together was their top-rated show midday in America ever. Anyways,
I believe
Travis
that.
Smith,
I believe that, Austin.
Travis Smith, tall, long. When he gets in the college weight room, Swain, I think the sky's the limit for him because he's just going to continue to get bigger. I mean, he's a monster when it comes to size. He is a big kid and, can really jump and big wingspan, runs well. Is he, 4'3"? No, but I mean, he's not 4'7" either. I mean, he runs really solid. And I think that this is exactly what Kelsey Pope and Joey Halsley and Josh Heupel were looking for to complete the trio of receivers. And when you factor in Rodarius Jackson, Joakim Dodson, Travis Smith in 25, after Braylon Staley and Mike Matthews in 24. That's 5 really good receivers the last 2 classes for Kelsey Pope. So big credit to him as he continues to develop himself as a really good recruiter on this staff, and just a nice addition to the recruiting class.
Travis Smith, top 100 player from the state of Georgia. Who did Tennessee beat out for Smith?
Well, I mean, it was Georgia, it was Alabama, and if you listen to some of the as I've said on our site, if you listen to some of the media in those markets, they'll say, well, he wasn't a take. But he was. He was a take. He just wanted to take his visits. And then, like in Alabama, had he committed after his visit to Alabama, they would have taken him 1,000,000%. I've talked to multiple people in Alabama. But he didn't. He wanted to take his visit to Tennessee. He was waiting on that Tennessee visit because Tennessee was always near and dear to him. And so what happened was Alabama moves on to Caleb Cunningham, who committed to them that next weekend. And they're in play for another guy or two that Alabama feels good about. So, circumstances change, but, Travis Smith could have went to either one of those schools during the month of June, but because he wanted to wait things out, take his visit to Tennessee at the end of the month, both schools started taking other wide receivers because they could not afford to wait on Smith, miss on those other guys, and then Smith end up elsewhere. And then all of a sudden they're left with nothing. So they took bird in the hand, and, again, I think all 3 programs have added nice additions at the receiving corps the last few weeks, and Tennessee is tickled to death with Travis Smith.
We're talking to Austin Price, VolQuest.com, covering Tennessee football recruiting. We have a couple of weeks to go in the month of July. Tennessee helps the offense, completing the wide receiver trio with Travis Smith. Does the attention turn back to defense here over the next couple of weeks?
It does. Christian Gass set to make his announcement on Saturday, the 20th, around 1 o'clock Eastern, and that's the Tennessee-Georgia battle. I feel like Tennessee's done a fantastic job there with Christian Gass, who can play inside backer, can play outside backer, just has some versatility. And then the 27th, you've got Shaedy Hayward, Lagonza Hayward, out of South Georgia. He will announce his decision on the 27th. So basically we've had 3 straight Saturday commits, as far as targets for Tennessee. And Tennessee, again, is the team to beat for Shaedy Hayward. So the next 2 you're looking at are going to be defensive, potentially could add to the class. And then we'll see what Jaden Perlotti elects to do. That one just feels like, he's got to went into hiding, and, everybody's got him flipping to Tennessee. We'll see, if and when that does come to fruition. They definitely felt that way exiting the month of June. But, again, he's not done a lot of talking since then. And then after that, Onus Conan Bonnie goes August, either the 2nd or the 15th. Last thing I heard was the 15th. And then turned our attention back to David Sanders, who will go on the 17th, who I'm sure you're going to ask me about for a weekly David Sanders update. And now.
So what about David Sanders?
Yeah.
There's some chatter that he was going to take some visits. I'm not so sure he does. We'll see what happens. But I'm not so headstrong on that he's going to get back out on the road recruiting or going for visits. Again, you don't discount it, but if you ask me right now, as we sit here, and it's always fluid, we sit here on a Wednesday, that one just feels like they kind of are to a point where they've seen every place they need to see. I mean, schools are trying to get them to come back. Tennessee would love for them to come back next weekend on the 27th. Ohio State would love to get him back. Nebraska would love to get another shot at him. But that family has taken so many unofficial visits during February, March, April, and May. Before the officials in June, they've seen all they need to see. So I said a couple of weeks ago, I'd be shocked if he went back out. Then you see this chatter that he may go back out for more visits. I'm not so sure that happens. We'll see how it plays out. But, I'm kind of leaning no more visits as we sit here on Wednesday.
I know everything is fluid now, especially with NIL. Do you expect David Sanders, once he commits, to still be open-minded, or you think he just shuts it down completely?
Done. I think he's done.
Okay.
And most kids, you just don't see a lot of flipping around these days. And I think because of the NIL deals that are already worked in the short term, that's why you don't see a lot. Like, there's a few, but, like, I think there's less decommits now in this era, and you would think it'd be the opposite, right? But I think, kids just kind of like, oh, man, this is where I want to be. I've got good NIL opportunities there, and they just, hang in there and they're done. I would be stunned, no matter where he picks, if he looked around again. He just does not seem like that kind of kid, and their family does not seem like that kind of family. I feel like once they come to a decision, it's going to be a lock.
So only 1 month to go. A month from today, David Sanders Jr. is scheduled to announce.
Is it 1 month from today? The
17th. Here we are. So good for Tennessee fans if that ends up being the choice. Good for Austin Price to avoid our weekly questions, which still have a few weeks to go, of what might happen with David Sanders.
It's okay. You guys ask me once a week. The general's quarters ask me 14 times an hour what the latest on David Sanders is. So it's, I really like David Sanders. He's one of the nicest kids I've ever dealt with. His family, they are treasures. All of mom, dad, everybody's super. But I'm to the point where I'm like, okay, as much as I like you, I'm ready for it to be over.
Well, let me ask you this, Austin. Has anything changed with David Sanders within the last 4 minutes and 28 seconds since I asked you before about David Sanders?
Just got a text, and no.
Okay.
See, he's always covering Austin Price. By the way, you mentioned the 27th of July. That's the scheduled announcement date for Shaedy Hayward. That is the birth date of Josh and Swain. Will he be getting – I'm not asking for an official on-3 logged prediction. Will Swain get a happy birthday gift, though, from the defensive back, Shaedy Hayward?
It's Shady's birthday as well, so that's why he's announced it on the 27th. So
it's meant to be, Swain.
He's a baller.
Who knew that these two legends were born on the same day, about 30 years apart, because Swain's old.
I'll take 30.
Not quite 30, about 20 now. I think, again, Tennessee's been the team to beat there for a long, long time. I think he tried to, push some moving parts in the month of June just to kind of, get some interest, because he had said Tennessee was the leader for so long that, like, when he picked the Vols, it was not going to be any kind of surprise. And so I think, every week he would be like, oh, this team leads, oh, this team leads, oh, this team leads. And it was like, what are you doing? But then I'm like, I think he's just trying to get interest, and I think that's exactly what he was doing.
Austin, before you go, you're keeping up with Tennessee football recruiting, everything happening with UT. Do you have an open championship pick before they tee off early in the Eastern time zone morning hours?
Whew, that's a good one. I'm going to go Colin. I'm not going to go Colin Morikawa either. I'm going to go Rory McIlroy. I think he overcomes demons at Pinehurst, and he wins the Open at Troon.
Okay. What a story that would be. Swain, you have a pick?
Yeah. Same old, man.
Scotty Scheffler, why would you ride with anyone else? I'm actually going Morikawa.
I'm going Scheffler. He's been on a tear this year. AP, are you playing a video game or no?
I'm not one that's going to run out and buy a PS5 just to play this game. Now, if it was in front of me, I'd love to play it.
Okay.
But that's not a thing. So, if it's ever in front of me, I'll absolutely play it. I'd love to play it, but it's not an end-all, be-all that I'm running out to buy a PS5. And, I've got girls, and so they're not super into the video games, so it's Might be different if I had a son, but I've got 2 girls, and they're into makeup and all those fun things at 11 and 9. Yippee.
Austin Price, he's not busy at all, so go to Volquest.com, hop in the general's quarters. He will be standing by after this conversation to answer any David Sanders Jr. related questions. Volquest.com to get those questions in at all time. He is the co-host of the highest-rated edition of Josh and Swain in the history of this show. Correct. Austin Price joins us each week on the Stanley Fencing and Gates Hotline. Austin, fun time today. Appreciate the info as always, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.